The Real ID Act. Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rachakudash. Double honors to our venerable apostles and elders at Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and blessings to your Lord's elect, the house of David. All right, so brother Haran coming back at you with another lesson. Lord willing to be edifying and uplifting unto the elect. All right. And today I believe is the 18th of January, all right, 2024. All right, the hopeful year of Jacob's trouble. All right, Yaquab Tazar. Okay. And as I started off with the Real ID Act, okay, now the Real ID Act is actually a thing that's going on right now. All right, read a little bit about it. All right, going into the rollout, okay, or at least the infrastructure being built for the MOTB. Okay, it all has to do with identification. All right, and the Esau is going to use several different tactics, whether it be so-called T attacks, whether it be so-called the next demic, the pandemons, right? What they call disease X, all right, or whatever it is that's going to be happening. All right, they're going to use identification, all right, to usher in that MOTB. Okay, it says here the Real ID rollout delayed again. Now starts in 2025. Okay, now they're saying by May 7th of 2025, if you don't have a copy of if you don't have a Real ID, all right, you are not going to be able to go on these domestic flights, all right, and so on and so forth. You can't access, federal buildings and all that kind of stuff, right? And as we see, since 2020, all right, a lot of the federal buildings are being they're working together with private corporations. You see what I'm saying? So it's making it more and more difficult, all right, for people to detach from the system, because the things that you probably looked at as options outside of, the state mandated way of doing things, all right, are being bought out. You know what I'm saying? Like, here it is. You got Cash App, now is pretty much on the same level playing field as the CBDC that's coming out soon, or at least the way in which it's going to be utilized. Okay, the central bank digital currency. All right, so that's another form of the infrastructure being built. Okay, so it's all about identification and ability to basically perform any economic transaction. Okay, it says New York State. All right, we use New York State because New York is pretty much one of the main forces that pushes these agendas throughout the nation, all right, at least throughout the country. Okay, you have New York, you have Cali, all right, the East Coast and the West Coast, right? It says New York State, the federal government's Real ID program has faced numerous delays over the years, and now is facing another one. The Department of Homeland Security announced that it was pushing back the deadline for getting Real ID from May 2023 to May 2025. Okay. The new date the Real ID Act goes into effect is May 7th, 2025. From that date, a Real ID compliant identification card will be needed to board domestic flights in the United States. Now, this is how it starts, right? It's always going to be something small and then incrementally becomes a whole, right? It says the Real ID is a federal program that establishes minimum security requirements for state-issued IDs. The Real ID Act was passed in 2005, and we're going to read a little bit about that. And the original deadline of October 2020 was set by President Donald Trump's administration after the law was opposed by states under President George W. Bush, and not enforced under President Barack Obama. That deadline, and again, you notice three different presidents back to back all pushed the same agenda. You had a so-called Republican, you had a so-called Democrat, and then you had a so-called Republican. Now you got a so-called Democrat. And guess what's happening? The past four, what's that thing called? Parties that were in office, okay? They've all pushed the same agenda. It just comes in a different way, you see. It says that deadline was then extended, and that's a prophecy too, okay? In the book of Revelation, let's see if we can get that real quick. All right, and this is all Bible prophecy. I saw I think it was an article, all right, that a brother posted. It might have been a video, but I did see the thumbnail. All right, they're saying that these devils are about to start tracking people who are purchasing Bibles. You know what I'm saying? If that doesn't tell you the times that we're in, then I don't know what will. Okay. Let's see. See if I could find this precept real quick. Revelation 13. Okay, let's see. Revelation chapter 13, verse 11, it says, "And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon." Okay, so the two horns, all right, that this beast here that is coming out of the earth, all right, is going into America, Babylon the Great. Okay, that's that beast that's coming out of the earth. Okay, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. That two horns represents the two political parties. Remember, this is America is pretty much Rome all over again. Okay, Rome 2.0 is America, Babylon the Great. Okay, so back in the Roman Empire, you had the two political parties which never died. They just resurrected in a different form, in a different time period, in a different age. All right, back then you had the plebeians and you had the patricians. Now you have the Democrats and you have the Republicans. It's the same shit. Okay. It says here they had two horns like a lamb. Now remember, lambs don't have horns. Okay, so it's just telling you that it's two powers. The horns represents power. Okay, like a lamb. The power represents the lamb. It's like they had two horns like a lamb. The lamb is pretty much, when you look at a lamb, is a so-called innocent animal, right? It's sweet, it's caring. You know, it's a small little thing. It's cute, right? This is how these people come around. You know, the smooth talking and, you know, we're here for the people and benefits. And if you vote for me, you get this and you get that, you know. But he spake as a dragon because ultimately through their manipulative tactics, by coming up like a lamb, you know, for you to accept them, you know, then they eventually become a dragon. Okay, with what their with their laws, okay, their statutes, okay, and so on and so forth, man. All right, so let's go back to the article on the real ID. All right, so again, we understand that the lamb that spake as a dragon is talking about America's two political parties. It's through them that they're going to bring about or usher in this MOTB system here in Babylon the Great and pretty much around the world. Okay, so continuing, it says that deadline was extended by a year due to the CV. It says last year, the Department of Homeland Security extended the deadline another 19 months from October 2021 to May 2023 due to the ongoing CV demic. It says the Department of Homeland Security said this latest extension was necessary due to the lingering impacts of the CV demic. The progress to get people real IDs has been significantly slowed down as the driver licensing entities in many states have to go through a backlog created by the demic. This extension will give states needed time to ensure their residents can obtain a real ID, compliant license, or identification card, said Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas. All right, he's the one in charge right now. Okay, but in the article that we're about to read, it was a different person at that time. Okay, it says the DHS will also use this time to implement innovations to make the process more efficient. In other words, they're going to use data-driven AI. Okay, to create what efficient? It's more efficient and it's also convenient, not for the masses. But they'll pitch it to you as convenience for you, but it's actually convenient for them. Okay? It says more efficient and accessible for them. Okay? We will continue to ensure, in other words, ensnare the American public from traveling safely. Okay, I put my own words in that, but what it really said is we will continue to ensure that the American public can travel safely. What it's really going to do is they're going to ensnare you. Okay, so now let's read a little bit about how they're going to ensnare people, especially those who believe so wholeheartedly on the system that we're living in today. Okay, again, this has all been planned for years, and now it's about to play out. Okay, you see what's going on out in the Middle East. There's a lot of things happening that's leading to World War III. Okay, you got this whole concept of Israel, all right, the state of Israel, not the nation of Israel, but the state of Israel. Okay, there's a difference, all right, pushing and waging war against the so-called Palestinians, all right, and this has been going on for years, decades, all right, but now we're in the last go around, so the Lord is increasing and turning up the heat, all right, He's increasing the tensions and turning up the heat. Okay, because He wants to is going to fulfill anti-biblical prophecy, ultimately destruction of America, Babylon the Great. Okay, by thermonuclear fire. All right, all these nations that you see Israel attacking and fucking with, all right, is going to prompt America to join in, and that's where America is going to meet her judgment. Okay, so let's continue. We're gonna read a little bit about the Real ID Act. Okay, it says, using the war on terrorism as an excuse to monitor all Americans, the Real ID Act passed by Congress in 2005. Supported by President Bush and Republican politicians, enacted the 9/11 Commission's recommendation that the federal government set standards for the issuance of sources of identification, such as driver's license. Okay, it mandated that as of May 2008, all Americans will be required to obtain federally approved ID cards containing electronically encoded personal information. There you go. Okay, there you go. Electronically encoded. All right, electronically encoded personal information. Remember, there's a word in the Greek called graphos. Okay, that is synonymous with the MOTB. Okay. It says the personal information will include your name, right? Your sex, your address, date of birth, and a digital photo at a minimum. The Real ID Act says that driver's licenses and other ID cards must include a digital photograph. All right, that's where biometrics comes in. Okay, see, all these things, it's all just playing out as they've planned it for it to play out. See, people are catching on slowly, all right, but most people don't have enough time because they're going to box you in, all right, and you're not prepared mentally through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, for all these years, be going into the scriptures and building up your faith to understand that these prophecies are coming to pass, and majority of them, especially the MOTB and the destruction of America, is imminent. Okay, Lord willing, it happens this year, man. It could possibly happen this year or into next year. Who knows? All right. Ultimately, that prophecy will be fulfilled, whether you like it or yes. All right. And we can't wait. Okay. Because we're looking for a new heaven and a new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness. All right. All this sicko mindset behavior that these people are living, all right, is all things that's the prelims for a mighty destruction, man. All right. That's just what it is. All right. People don't regard anything that's holy anymore, man, especially the scriptures. All right, and the men of the Lord. Okay, and that's all done by design of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai's creation. Okay, so let's continue. It says anti-counterfeiting. Let's bring it back. The Real ID Act says that driver's licenses and other ID cards must include a digital photograph, anti-counterfeiting features, and undefined machine-readable technology. What do you think that's going to be? Anti-counterfeiting features. They did a test with the so-called CV pass, right? What happened in 2020, 2021? You have people going around using fake IDs and shit, to say that, oh, I took the jump shot, but they really didn't do it. You see, So these devils already went through the whole testing phase. All right, how do we find out if somebody did it or not? That kind of thing. So they're gonna use the MOTB, the RFID microchip, all right, to pretty much shut down the whole world, control the whole world. Okay, so it says they're gonna use machine readable technology with defined minimum data elements. Data going into graphos. That could include a magnetic strip or RFID tag. You see? The radio frequency identification tag. And guess what? Everything you see today in the year 2023 into 2024 is all about convenience with big corporations and saving money. Okay? And that's all being done through what? AI, robots, and so on and so forth. So very soon, in order to actually access anything in this society, you will have to be some way, somehow merged into the technological world. Hence, you have Internet of Bodies, okay? Not just Internet of Things, you have Internet of Bodies, okay? They got this 5G towers, and I was in the car this afternoon with my Eve, and she was saying that, hey, look at the poster for, I think it was T-Mobile, and T-Mobile is pushing this 5G advertisement, and on the tower, it's almost like it's beaming something over towards, like, if you're looking at the sign, the board, right, the advertisement, it's beaming towards your direction, pretty much over you. All right, and that's all subliminal messaging. When you go into advertisement, they teach you that. Okay. Continuing, it says, all of this information will be kept in a national database. Okay, and then it's going to eventually become a global database. Okay, it says once fully implemented, American citizens without driver's licenses that conform to the federal standards will find themselves essentially stripped of their ability to participate in life as we know it. Okay, again, they went through a trial run where you couldn't work, you couldn't get a job, you couldn't go into certain buildings, certain places, all because you didn't take the jump shot. Okay, and now a lot of people who took it, they're like, man, damn, like why didn't I just wait? This time it's not going to be a matter of waiting. It's just going to be what it is, the new normal. It says anyone without the card cannot get a job, open a bank account, apply for Social Security or Medicare, enter federal buildings, exercise their Second Amendment rights, or even take an airplane flight unless they can produce a state-issued ID that conforms to the federal specifications. What does that sound like? Let's get this real quick. What does this sound like? It sounded to me like, all right, it sounded to me like the prelims of the MOTB. Okay, when you read the prophecy, it sounds just like this. All right, let's read. It says, this is a book of Revelation, chapter 13, and verse 16. It says, and he causeth all. Okay, and we always go into these words because once you go into the words, you really understand the prophecies. Okay, especially the spirit of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua is on you. You know, the Holy Spirit, the Ruach, right? So Revelation 13 and 16 says, and he causeth all. Who's the he? The ones who are in power. Okay, Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. All right, was that 2nd Ezra, the 6th chapter? All right, talks about for Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Okay, the end of the world as in the end of the age. That word world is the Greek word eon. Okay, so whoever's in power right now at this very juncture will be the one to control the narrative and to control the direction in which the world is going into. Okay, and Esau, Edom, the so-called elites, power elites, are the ones who run this world. Okay, now they're coming out. You got the people of the WEF, okay, putting themselves out there, making it seem like, you know, they're trying to, you know, save the world and climate this and, you know, whatever bullshit they're pushing nowadays. People are starting to wake up to it. All right, but again, they're not stopping, so it doesn't really matter. All right, they have to fulfill prophecy. Okay, and this is the prophecy that they're working to fulfill very soon, whether they know it or not, whether they like it or yes. Okay, it says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark. All right, that word mark is charagma. Okay, And that Charagma is going to come in a form of an RFID microchip. Point blank, period. It's not the Vanessa. For those who believe that, it's not that. Okay, it is the next thing to happen, which is the MOTB, the mark of the beast, the RFID microchip. All right. So to receive a microchip in their right hand or in their foreheads, if we say like that, I think it'll make more sense to a lot of people, especially niggas in IUIC. It says, and that no man might buy or sell. So again, it's a condition, right? It's a condition. It's a mandate. You can't buy or sell unless you have this. This is a new system, right? Save he, in other words, except he or those that had the mark, meaning the chip, or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Remember, it says or, meaning either or. It's synonymous. Mark, name of the beast, number of his name, same shit. Okay? It's the RFID microchip, point blank, period. All right? And guess what? You have tech moguls like Elon Musk, okay, who's working tirelessly, all right, to fulfill this prophecy, especially the one in the forehead. Okay? In the name of technological advancements, all right, they're turning people into more and more of a non-human component of society. You know what I'm saying? People are starting to act weird now. It's like it's just, hey, this place got to go, man. You know, and they're going, no doubt, majority of Americans going to line up to take this thing without even thinking. By the time it comes out, majority of the people are going to be in a worse state mentally than they are now. So they're going to end up taking that shit, man. They're going to take it. There'll be very little resistance. All right, at least the will to resist will be pretty much almost non-existent. You know, and that's the goal. That's what you see. That's why you're seeing a lot of shit that you're seeing now. It's all through the form of witchcraft and desensitization to this type of stuff. Okay. So let's go back to the article. It says, today, every air traveler will need a real ID compliant license or another acceptable form of identification for domestic air travel. So what's the big deal? Supporters of the act argue that it is needed to stop illegal immigrants from obtaining driver's license and prevent terrorists from hiding in the open. Opponents argue the cards constitute a national ID card, which is a gross violation of civil rights and platform for massive identity theft. ITAA President and CEO Phil Bond said in a letter to Congress, quote, "We now have the technology to improve security and personal privacy through real ID, and we know it." Right? They know that it will reduce identity theft, fraud, and other abuses while strengthening homeland security. And that's BS. Okay? That is BS. All right? Because guess what? There are already so-called laws that just need to be enforced. Okay? Against, identity theft and all that shit. That's a serious crime. So why don't you go around, arresting those who are actually committing this crime rather than coming around and saying, well, we got new technology that's going to negate some of this stuff. No. Okay? Well, we're telling you exactly what this is all leading to. The mark of the beast, the RFID microchip. Okay? Being implanted, mandatorily implanted underneath the skins of people. All right? And that's all the fulfillment of biblical prophecy as we read. Okay? 8 of 10 Americans right now, all right, are on their way to taking that MOTB. Point blank, period. All right? That's a lot of people. Okay? Every 8 out of 10 Americans you meet, they're going to take that thing. Okay? They're going to take that thing. Anyway, let's keep going. It says, let's see. Americans will soon need a federally approved machine-readable ID card to travel on an airplane, open a bank account, right? They're saying by May 2025, May 7th. And it's funny because the Who Dat, they're going to be signing off on the One Accord Treaty in May of this year. You know what I'm saying? And in a state where they say they declare just perceived threat of a virus or a disease or whatever, they can call for the whole world to shut down. All right. And through that, they can bring in or usher in their next advancements towards the MOTB, if not the MOTB itself. Okay. So you're not going to be able to open a bank account, right? That's where the buying and selling comes in, because if everything is digital via the CBDC and you don't have a digital way of interacting with people via the CBDC, then you're obsolete. You see, so they're already building to it. All right. And the prophets are warning you, all right, starting from my elders and apostles of Great Millstone on down, about this very prophecy, man. We talk about it almost every day. Okay. Because we see it clearly, man. We see it. All right. Everything they do is pointing to that. You know, that's why they label what we say misinformation and disinformation, because it's their way of combating the truth. But they're going to fail. All right. They've tried every single way possible, and their last ditch attempt is going to be by force. All right. That's where you're going to have the military coming in and so on and so forth. But the Lord already got time for that. All right. Isaiah 59:19 is about to be a reality very soon. Okay. Where the Lord turns his men into a force of wreaking havoc. All right. Upon the wicked. Okay. So we're definitely in their way. We're speaking the truth, exposing their lies and the BS. All right. On a daily basis, man. Okay. These devils are being exposed on every level. And that's a fulfillment of biblical prophecy. Okay. The Lord is making you bear. All right. So let's continue. It says, open a bank account and perhaps in the future collect social security payments or take advantage of nearly any government service. Have you heard of something known as the UBI? That is a perfect gateway, all right, for people to depend on a system of payments and government services. That's the UBI, Universal Basic Income. Now they bring that out very soon, probably in a few months. All right, it becomes official. All right, and then now what? Everyone is required to be on that. And now that they've gotten everyone to be required to be on that, now they switch it up on you. Okay, they create reasons, problem, reaction, solution to what? To justify them for bringing this thing into fruition. Okay. It says, sound familiar? Sounds like a bit of a Gestapo saying, this is in German. Shit. It says, Mir deine Papier zeigen. Let's go with that. All right. In other words, show me your papers. Okay. Folks, your privacy will not be any better protected, and America will not be any safer by surrendering more of your rights to a corrupt government. Okay, well, it's not, soon it's not going to be a government. It's just NGOs now. All right, these corporations are the ones pretty much ruling the world. All right. It says, instead, the Real ID Act is just another incremental step towards fulfilling the prophecy in Revelation 13:16-17. You hear that? You got an article that's going into that. But yet you got people who claim to be in Israel, IUIC, who don't know this prophecy, man. They don't understand this prophecy. The most important prophecy at this point before the destruction of America. And you got people calling themselves prophets and they don't know this prophecy. They don't even know the name of the Lord. That's how we know you're not to be taken seriously, man. I imagine Moses coming up to the children of Israel in Egypt, and they ask him, the elders were asking him, so you say you come in the name of the Lord. What's the name of our Lord? What's the name of our God? And he go around saying, and Most High in Christ bless. They'll stone Moses to death right there on the spot. Yeah, we said what? Most High in Christ bless. What the fuck? You know? That's how the Lord looks at these clowns, man. And it's quite irritating. Let's move on. All right. Only the elect are gonna get at the end of the day. You know, and you know what? There's a reason why the Lord has the so-called IUIC be recognized as the biggest camp in so-called Israel. The biggest so-called church is what they say. Right? It's to sway the non-elect out of the way. Okay? That's the whole point. All right? That's why they do what they do. The Lord chose the perfect person, all right, to be a part of the sifting process spiritually. Okay? And that's the bishop. All right. So let's continue. It says, in short, we are looking at a database that allows the federal government to track your every move, finances, spending activities, etc. Okay. All right. Let's move down a little bit. Try to see if I can get a little bit more. There you go. Right here. It says the Department of Homeland Security was charged with drafting the details of the regulation and will dictate the specifications for the cards and its implementation. At this point, the cards are being issued through state DMV offices and incorporated into driver's licenses. You hear that? State issued DMV offices. They're being issued by state DMV offices. Okay. It says to obtain the card, citizens will be required. Okay. That's speaking as a dragon, will be required to produce a photo identification. Now, most people might say, oh, that's not a big deal. We do it already. But do you really have to do it everywhere you go? Not really. Right? It's not something that you're required to have. Like, you could forget your wallet at home and be driving and go to your destination and back with no issues. Right now, you could do that. You know how many people do shit like that? You see, but very soon, ain't no way. All right? Ain't no way. You can't even get in a car without proper identification. Okay? If you can't produce proper identification that matches whatever database they have, whatever information they have in the database digitally, you're non-existent. Okay? You have to have what? Proof of address. See? Social security number card, and possibly fingerprints or retinal scans. That's biometrics. Okay? Biometrics. Measurement of the body. Okay? Or life. All right, if you want to get technical. Okay? It says the information will then be digitized and put into a federal database. Why would it be put into a federal database? So that way, when that CHIP comes out, if you're CHIP, it connects right to the system. All right, all the information is already in the system, so now they can identify who's who. All right, i.e., the minority report. Okay, and a whole lot more that they've shown you, predictively programming people since then. All right, it says the particularly scary element of this is that there are no limitations on what they can be required by on what can be required by the Department of Homeland Security. Can DNA samples be far behind? Right? They might not even need that. If they got your CHIP, that's all it takes. You know? That's all it takes, man. But we're getting there. All right? There's a lot of things that's lined up. All right? And very soon, guess what? It could be anything. It could be the next demic, where people are not going to be, they told you, you're locked down. You're not going to be able to be on a plane. You can't be on a train. You can't open a bank account. You can't visit national parks, right? You can't go to the courthouses. Okay, like federal courthouses, you could go into like a town or shit, whatever. But eventually they're going to do the same thing everywhere, right? But the DHS in 2017 said that the Real ID does not apply to the following. Scriptures tell you never trust thine enemy. Let's get that real quick. All right. The book of Ecclesiasticus, I believe chapter 12 and I think verse 10. Let's get that real quick. All right. And that's what these devils are getting mad at, because we just bringing out the truth on their ass. All right. The devil in you never died. All right, you're still the same old Esau Edom that you were going all the way back to the book of Genesis. You still have that vendetta, all right, against Jacob. All right, and it's even worse now because it's a spiritual battle, a spiritual fight, okay, of who's going to eventually take over the throne. All right. There's a book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 12, verse 10. It says, never trust thine enemy. Okay, Jacob is the end of the world. Esau is the end of the world. Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. All right. And the Lord had to stop me on that one. That was crazy. All right. Never trust thine enemy. Okay, and who's the number one enemy of the so-called blacks, Latinos, Native Americans, man? All right, upon this face of the earth, there's one people that have always had this hatred towards us, and they masquerade it by saying, "Oh, it's a skin color thing." It ain't no damn skin color thing, man. All right, because you do it to the Northern Kingdom too. A lot of them their skin color be matching your skin color. Some of them, right? But it's because of the spirit, right? It's because of who we are, and you know exactly who we are, and that's why you do what you do to us. You don't do that to the Chinese people, right? You don't do that to the Arab people, Arabs, right? You don't do that to the so-called Africans, all right? They dark as shit. You don't do that to them like that. You know, you go down there to try to negotiate shit with them. You give them military aid and all that. Why don't you give us that? You know, you wouldn't dare. All right, it says, never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. All right, and an iron, all right, when it rusts, all right, you can wipe off the rust. Okay, and then it goes right back to its old ways. Okay, sharp as a knife. All right, a knife will rust, right? If you have a knife and you leave it outside and it rains, you know, after a while it gets rusty, you know, but you can take it right back to an area where they can sharpen it, and you cut right through things like nobody's business. All right, so the scripture here is using that analogy, all right, for Esau Edom, that his wickedness doesn't die away just because he giving you benefits, and you know he hadn't done nothing to you like the time of hardcore slavery, doesn't mean that he's not looking to do that again. Okay, because once the rust is all rusty now, his attitude of putting Jake in that kind of predicament is rust. Once the rust is off, that wickedness comes right back. Okay, on a different level. You know what I'm saying? It says, though he humble himself, right? You know, oh, you know, we making laws, and you know we're abolishing this, and now black people can do this, and we're giving them this, and yeah. Though he humble himself, right? He'll come into your neighborhoods. You know, he be paying off the pastors, and he'd be telling them, you know, we're here to help you. You know, here it is. They got a deadly potion, but then they're going around telling Fauci to go into so-called black neighborhoods and tell them the importance of being protected. You so-called black and brown communities are the most affected by this virus. So we're gonna come into your neighborhoods personally, and we're gonna come talk to you and show you the importance of actually, you know, coming on board and taking some of our jump shots here. You see? So you do that. He says, go, though he humble himself, right? Because he's above you, but he'll come into your neighborhoods like he on some chill shit with you, give you aid and grant and all that, and go crouching. Yet take good heed and be aware of him, or beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as thou had wiped a looking glass. Okay, now a looking glass is basically what is known today as the spectacles or your glasses, right? Or you know, let me look at something. Let me look something up real quick. Let's see. I want to get the definition of looking glass. Let's see if we could find something on that. Looking glass. Okay, let's see images. All right, so a lot of images that are popping up, and you know, you could look it up, but basically, a lot of images that are popping up is more like anything that has to do with a glass, right? Like if you could look at like a picture frame, or you know, your glasses that you wear, or magnifying glasses, or a lens, or anything like that, right? Sometimes when it has dirt, it's hard to see. What do you have to do? You have to take your cloth and wipe it, and then it becomes clear, right? It's the same thing. The truth is what wipes these devils' little shit that they put out there for people to be tripped up by their actual agenda, you know? And once you wipe that shit clean, then you be like, oh, you could see like, oh shit, damn, this is what they actually trying to do, you know? And that's the same thing the scripture is telling us, right? That it says, thou shalt, and it says, take good heed and beware of him. All right, when you beware of someone or something, you're always on the lookout. You know, you don't trust them, so you're always watching. You know what I'm saying? And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hadst wiped a looking glass. So we are the ones, the prophets, who have the ability to see in the dark through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And by the dark, we're talking about 2 Corinthians 2:11. All right, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Okay, so we're able to see through the facade. Okay, because the Lord has given us the ability to do that. Okay, Amos 3:7. All right, it says, and thou shalt be unto him as thou had wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust hath not been altogether wiped away. Okay, so we see everything clearly, man. You know, we see everything clearly. So these devils are onto some shit, and we onto them. All right, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. All right, so let's check this out. It says in 2017, the Department of Homeland Security website says, Real ID does not apply to the following, but we know that it actually does apply. It's the opposite, right? It says entering federal facilities that do not require a person to present identification. That's a lie, because soon, again, like I said, it's the opposite of everything I'm reading here. Voting or registration to vote. You're going to need that real ID for that. Applying for or receiving federal benefits. You're going to need the real ID to do that. Being licensed by a state to drive. You're going to need a real ID to do that. Accessing health or life-preserving services, including hospitals and health clinics. You're going to need the real ID to do that. Law enforcement or constitutionally protected activities, including defendants' access to court proceedings. You hear that? So if you get arrested or you get put in prison, all right, like the scripture says in the book of Revelation, all right, you shall be in prison 10 days. See if we can get that real quick. I believe it's Revelation, the 3rd chapter. No, not that. Not the 3rd chapter. Let's see. I believe Revelation. Let me see something here. Revelation 2:10. There you go. I was going to go back one, but it's all right. It says, Revelation chapter 2, verse 10, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Okay, and a lot of those things that we're going to suffer is the fact that we're not complying with this system. Okay, so it's going to make life hard for us. But guess what? The Lord said, behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison. Why? Because we are resisting. Okay, we are telling them that we're not going to bow down to you because our first law, all right, as an Israelite tells you that ye shall have no other gods beside me, man. Okay, so we are, by law, we cannot bow our knee to any other gods, man. Point blank, period. Okay, especially the elect. All right, so it says that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I'll give thee a crown of life. So yes, in the time of trial, all right, some of us could possibly face death. All right, being martyrs. All right, they already have everything set up. They got digital, what's that shit called? Digital guillotines. All right, Lord willing, I might bring that back. I did a video on that some time ago. All right, so they have that shit ready to go, man. All right, and that's all to fulfill biblical prophecy. Did not Trump say when he comes into power, he's going to bring back the guillotines? You know what I'm saying? Death penalty and all that. So here you go. It says participating in law enforcement proceedings or investigations. You see? So it's all there. It's all there. They're setting the infrastructure ready to go. Okay? And hey, if you ain't on board, that's where the suffering comes in. You know, but guess what? The Lord said, for the elect, he'll make a way. All right? For the elect, he'll make a way. This is not the first time of us being in captivity and going through some form of discrimination because of our belief. You know, look at the time of Egypt. All right. Look at the time of the Greeks. All right. Look at the time of the Romans. And now look now. Okay. Look at now. Where they're about to start demonizing anyone who speaks the truth of the Bible. So, yeah, man, it is what it is. All right. It's all biblical prophecy that's leading to the mark of the beast. All right. So anyway, I'm going to leave it up there. Lord willing, you are edified and informed. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rk. This has been the Real ID Act. Okay, the Real ID Act. And until next time, Shalom.